Good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Liz Live Saturday morning. I'm so happy to be here and so excited to have all of you join me for this really special edition of Liz Live. And why is it special? Why is it different than any other, Liz Live? And, I think the only reason for me personally is because, I have a lot of personal experience wrapped up in today's topic. And, as a marriage and family therapist and mental health counselor, this is something that all of my clients struggle with. And if it's not something they struggle with that is actually leading them to therapy, it's something that comes up eventually. And what I'm talking about is when you have relationships that you're really fighting for in your family, in your love life, in your friendships, and you want that love returned so badly and it just isn't. And so we often as human beings will try harder and harder and harder and harder to get people to love us. And until one day, maybe when we're 45 or 40 or whatever age, and oh my gosh, like this love is not being returned. I don't care if it's mom or dad or brother, sister. And I keep running into this fire in a sense, and getting hurt. And I think I might have to stop doing that. And I think I might, that might mean saying goodbye to someone that means a lot to you. And it takes a long time to get there. It takes a long time to get through this. And what really inspired my show today was a post that I just fell upon, written by Anthony Hopkins, supposedly, and it was on Facebook. And sorry, my microphone's just not cooperating with me today. There we go. Anthony Hopkins wrote this like really deep piece about saying goodbye to people who are not willing to love you the way you love them, and that it's one of the hardest and most important things you'll ever have to do. And I posted it on my Facebook page, and I may refer to it at some point during the show, but it was so moving that it inspired the show. And I've been kind of planning and thinking about the show all day. And the other reason today is so special is it's September 11th, and it's the 20-year anniversary of probably the worst I would say it's the worst terrorist attack ever on American soil. And, if you're my age or older, we all remember what happened. And I would say that for me personally, that was the most afraid I ever was to be in America. I was so freaked out by that. I was 25, and I remember exactly where I was. I'm sure we all have those stories. Do you remember when or where you were September 11th, 2001, when these nutbag evil terrorists came into our country and flew planes into the World Trade Center, into the Pentagon, and basically hijacked a plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. And not only were all the lives of Americans, innocent Americans, children, women, elderly, everybody, were they killed that were on these airplanes that were used as weapons of mass destruction, but it also took the lives of thousands and thousands of innocent people who were working in the World Trade Center. And it was one of the most traumatic days in my life. I remember feeling just really scared and not really understanding what in the world was going on. And today we remember that, and we talk about that, and we really I don't know, we have to take a moment and just remember how scared we were that day, and how shocked we were, but then also how we came together so beautifully as a country. And here we are on the 20th anniversary of September 11th, and look where we are. We are remembering and we are celebrating, but the very people who basically caused that horrible, evil terrorist attack on American soil, who composed it for years, planned it, are now in control of what was an American occupied territory in the Middle East, because, our president, I guess, doesn't know what planet he's on. And there's all these Americans now being held hostage and were abandoned by the Taliban, which were the people that, participated in 2001 and September 11th. So I think it's important if we keep it real, and let's look at where we've gone in the past 20 years, and how today we're circling back and sort of backwards, in a way. And I think we need to talk about that, not on today's show, but I have to acknowledge it. I have to talk about it because, sometimes we have to talk about uncomfortable things, and my job as a therapist is to, make it easier to talk about uncomfortable things. So I just wanted to salute and send love to all of those people who died and who fought to save lives 20 years ago on this day, around this time. And I salute and ask that God blesses you and keeps you through this difficult day. So got to acknowledge that. So okay, so we got through that, and let's refocus, let's regroup. I want to wish I have some happy occasions to announce today. I want to wish my dear friends Jerry and Mark a very happy anniversary today. They are on their way. Well, it's actually tomorrow's anniversary, but they're on their way to the west coast of Florida, and they're going to enjoy themselves and celebrate. I love you guys. Enjoy each other this weekend. And I heard you guys have a really good dog sitter, and I'm going to be needing one in a couple weeks. So if you guys could send me that number, I'd really appreciate it. So, okay, that's for Jerry and Mark. And happy birthday to Doc Shirey, one of my dear friends who celebrated his birthday on the 9th. And so these are all the happy, exciting things in lieu of some sad things. And let's go ahead and get into what I'm talking about when I say go where the love is. Okay, so let's get into it. So, okay. So many of us, I think, tend to feel very lost in the world, and we we wind up maybe in therapy, or we wind up maybe at a rabbi's office, or a priest, or a pastor, whoever your religious leader may be in your community, and we feel very lost, I think, at certain times, because life can be so confusing, and life can be very painful. Life can hand us a lot of things that don't feel very good, that we thought, well, hey, I didn't sign up for this. And we get lost in our anger, in our confusion about our traumas and our pain and our, solace. And we don't really know how to make sense of it, because as, we've talked about so many times on the show, that bad things do happen to good people every day. And a lot of times bad people get away with a lot of crap, and that's hard to swallow for a lot of us. It's very hard. The injustice in the world is sometimes hard to make sense of and understand, whether it's on an interpersonal level, or maybe it's on a level of, the country, or whatever you're into. But really, we all have personal tragedy that befalls us at some point. Most of us do, some more than others. And I think that what makes us as human beings feel very lost, and what will often lead you into my office or a therapist's office, is, being unable to sort of connect the dots and make sense of what's happened to you in your life, or who hasn't shown up to love you in your life that you were hoping would. And this is a big one. And I think it's something that we don't really talk about a lot, because I think when we're trying to get the love of other people and we put ourselves out there by doing nice things or, um, you know, whatever, making the phone calls, inviting people to lunch or to dinner or just for, a chat, a cup of coffee, a Zoom, whatever. Um, we're sort of, when we do that, when we reach out and we put ourselves out there to be connected to other people, we are making ourselves vulnerable in a way, because if the person that we're asking, doesn't respond to us or whatever, then that's hurtful. That can be very hurtful. And we feel a bit rejected. But a lot of times we don't face that. We don't deal with that. And we just go, oh, well, screw them, F them, whatever. But we may continue to keep trying to connect to people, particularly in our close families. And where I see this as a huge problem isn't so much in marriages, although I definitely see it in marriages, and we'll get into that, but is what I really see it in the family. And remember, I'm a marriage and family therapist and mental health counselor, so I look at things with a lens of, the entire family system, not just one person. So even if I'm working with an individual, I'm still looking at all of their relationships and all of their family connections. And it's so common and so frequent, almost guaranteed, that the client that's coming into me is coming in because they're trying to be loved by somebody or some people in their families, and they're not getting that love returned. And that is very, very hurtful. So people come in and they're worn out, they have no boundaries, they feel emotionally exhausted, they're depressed, they're confused, and they don't even really know what it is that's got them. And so only once I start, sort of interviewing and asking clients about their relationships and about their families do I start to sort of uncover this very, very common problem. This very common problem that happens in so many of our lives, trying to be loved by people in our family who are not interested in loving us back. And maybe they're not interested because, they're very selfish, or maybe they don't know how to love. They don't know how to give love. A lot of people don't know how to do that. They're not really emotionally available. And maybe they're just not that into us. I mean, I think that's a possibility too, that, not everybody is interested in having a close relationship with us. And when it's our brothers or sisters or children or parents, my God, it's painful. It's painful. And I think especially for parents and children, it can leave some major scars. And it's not to say that, one family relationship hurts more than another, because it's all painful. But I think that parents and children, parents always want to seek the love and the approval of their parents, or parents always want to receive the love back that they've given their kids their whole lives. And I think parents don't want to say that, because parents are always usually the givers. But I think it hurts moms and dads when they're not getting the relationships that they want with their kids. I see that a lot, where parents will, would do anything for their children and take them in and let them live there and pay for everything when things go wrong. But a lot of parents say, I know my kids would never do the same for me. My mom used to say that. Like, if something happens to me, you're not going to want me living with you. And, I would say I would have let her, she passed away before we ever got to that point. But I said, Mom, no, I would take care of you. I would let you do that, You maybe can't bring your husband with you, but, but you could come. It's a joke. Anyway, so I think that this is the issue that really lands a lot of us in therapy, and is probably drawing you to this video because you are hurting. You're not able to maybe vocalize it. You're not able to frame it. You're not able to understand it, but you are not getting the love returned in the manner in which you would like from family members, close friends, etc., etc., and perhaps your spouse. Of course, that's very common too. So what do we do about it? How do we know how do we know, first of all, that this is a problem for us? And I have experienced this firsthand. So I know this topic very, very well inside and out. I have absolutely had family members that I have really, tried desperately to, be close to, and have given and given and gone out of my way and done somersaults and back bends and twists and turns to try to get their love. And and then eventually it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And for a long time, I think I took it personally, like, oh, okay, I guess maybe I'm not good enough for them, or maybe, they don't, there's something I'm not doing right. And it took me many years and a lot of maturity and a lot of work to understand that it's not really about me. It's about them, right? Not everyone's going to love you, and not everyone's going to want a close relationship with you, even if it's in the title of brother, sister, mom, dad, child, cousin, best friend, work, coworker, whatever. Okay. It's not. And it's so painful. It feels like you're being rejected, and it feels like maybe it's you're not doing something right, or you're not doing enough. So if you do a little bit more, maybe this time they'll love you. Maybe this time they'll love you. And I'm going to repeat that, because this is something that I want everyone to really listen to and digest, because this is a dynamic that I see happening so often with people who want love, deserve love, are very loving people, but don't get it back. Okay. And the dynamic is, I'm going to continue to give. I'm going to continue to love. I'm going to continue to put my energy and effort into this person, because maybe it'll be this time that I give, that I love, that they'll love me back. And it's heartbreaking when you put it like that. But I think it's critical that people understand this pattern. And I think in some ways we lie to ourselves. It's maybe softens the blow a little bit to think that, oh, it must be us, that if we just do a little bit more, or give a little bit more, or pay a little bit more, or hand them a little bit more, that then they'll return the love, and they'll give me the relationship that I want. I see this a lot with young women who lack certain confidence in themselves, and young men too, but I see it more so in young women, where young women will virtually kill themselves to be loved. And what I mean by that is, they'll starve themselves, they'll take drugs, they'll cyber stalk, they'll compare themselves always to other people to try and get the love and affection of a young man. And it becomes very destructive. It becomes destructive, I think, for teens. It can be destructive for adults. And if you look at it in context of romantic relationships, there's a lot of desperation there. And it's really sad. It's really sad. And we all have done it at some point in our lives, right? We've all tried to be loved by somebody who didn't love us back. It happens to all of us. But when you're talking about in a marriage, you're talking about somebody who signed up to love you back as much as you love them, right? Marriage has legal contracts and spiritual contracts, and verbal agreements that I take thee in sickness and in health, to love us till death do us part. And there's a lot there. That's a big commitment that most people really can't live up to, and so we will maybe enter into these contracts with people that we know deep inside don't really have the ability to love us the way that we want to be loved, the way that we love them. And all of this rejection and all of this over trying and over caretaking that many of us do to be loved and to be accepted and to feel part of a family or part of a relationship or part of a romance, each time you go out there and you put yourself out there, that it makes you a little vulnerable and you don't get it returned, it's a rejection. It's a little mini rejection. And every time you do that, you give away a little piece of yourself, a little piece of yourself or a little bit of your power. Because whether you're willing to admit it or not, it hurts like hell. It hurts like hell. And most of the time, the most loving, giving people are the ones who, get sort of really hurt and tossed to the side. And I believe that to be true because, one, I've seen it 100 times, and because people who are very loving can give their love much more freely and much more willingly than most other people. So, you just have to really think about, when I am trying to get the love of this person, desperately trying to get the love of this person, and it's not being returned, where's the shut off? Where's the valve where you just go, okay, I'm done? And I really sincerely believe that this is something that takes therapy and introspection and reflection to be able to really say goodbye to these people or separate yourself from these people in order to protect yourself. Because when you give that piece of yourself away over and over and over again, not only are you hurting yourself, but you're depleting yourself from the ability to really love someone or people that can actually love you back. So when you're caught up in this pattern and you're caught up in this dynamic, you are really just giving away so much of your love, and it's going in a dark hole because it's not coming back to you, and then you're hurt on top of it, so it's like double draining, right? So you're draining and draining and draining yourself, and then again you wind up anxious, depressed, feeling not good enough, and you wind up in the therapist's office. Okay. And I can say, honestly, I have absolutely been through this myself in my life. And it took me, and I'm a therapist. Okay. And it took me a long time to be able to handle these situations in my own life. So no judgment, on anyone who's doing this right now or anything like that, because it's part of the human condition. And I think it's part of getting older. And, I think as you get older, your own energies, become more limited, right? Because you have less energy and you have less, tolerance and patience for other people's BS. And so, you start to go, hey, you know what? I'm not asking that person to go to lunch with me anymore. You know what? I'm not texting that person anymore to see how they're doing. I'm not inviting that person over to my house all the time and have them not show up or make an excuse of why they can't come. But you know what? Why should I do that? And I feel like that's the first step. When you start getting a little bit angry and you start feeling a little bit, rather than, sad, you start to get a little angry at yourself and angry at the situation. I think that's a good sign, because that means, okay, I'm starting to wake up to this pattern. I'm starting to see that I'm putting all of my love and my energy and my vulnerabilities in reaching out to these people that are family. So they're supposed to love me because they're family. They're supposed to love me the right way because they're my spouse or they're my partners or whatever. And I always feel like this. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. I feel like I'm not loved the way I want to be. And we get angry about it. And that's the point that we want to sort of capitalize on and use to make that pivot. Okay? So when we get to that where we've just, we're starting to see the pattern. We're starting to feel the drain. We're feeling the rejection. We're angry. We're sad. We're feeling so rejected. It's just at that moment that we can do the pivot, okay? And what is that pivot? Well, that pivot is to go where the love is. All right, going where that love is. And I wish that all this music wasn't copyrighted, because so many great songs that I wanted to play, but Facebook and YouTube, they don't let me do it. But so we wake up, we face the music, we face the hurt, we face the pain, we face the feelings of rejection. We've made ourselves vulnerable. We've showed people that, we want their love so much, and, we want closeness with them, and we just aren't going to get it back, right? We're just not going to get it. And when we pivot, I think we really have an opportunity to really turn ourselves around and ask ourselves, okay, self, where is the love in my life? Because right now I'm feeling really lost, and I'm feeling unloved by my own family, or my own spouse, or my own children, or my own siblings, or whatever. So what am I going to do? Because when the relationships that you expect to love you back, which typically come in the title of brother, sister, mother, father, grandparents, aunt, uncle, cousins, best friends, whatever, all those labels. We have an expectation that these people are going to love us the way we want to be loved. And many times it doesn't work out that way. And when we finally get that, then we get a chance to also reflect on, okay, these people don't love me, okay? Or they don't love me enough, or they don't love me enough to cultivate a relationship with me. They don't love me enough to do that, to meet me where I am, to really genuinely care, be thoughtful about my needs and my wants in the way that I am about theirs. So I'm going to pull back, right? So that's step one. I'm going to pull my love back. I'm going to keep that love for me instead of throwing it out and being so vulnerable and being hurt and rejected. So now I'm going to keep it for me. And that can be kind of empowering and kind of energizing and sad at the same time. And I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to look for the love. Okay, so where's the love? How do you go where the love is? How do you do this? And my friends, it's interesting because it's sometimes right in front of you and you don't see it. Okay? And I think the love of ourselves comes into play here too. Because I think in order to completely pivot from, chasing love that is, not coming back to that reflective spot, to then over to where the love is, I think we have to love ourselves, right? We have to love ourselves enough to be able to say, hey, I'm not going to keep being shut down over and over again by these people, by my own children, by my own parents, by my own brother or sister or cousin, or, I go through all the titles because I want to be inclusive, lover, whatever. So I'm gonna, for the first time in my life, realize, like, oh my God, like, wait a minute, I'm chasing love, and I'm chasing is not even the word. It's like I'm desperately, I'm crawling to just get snippets of love. I'm begging for it, in a sense. How pathetic, right? From people that really don't have any interest. So we recognize that, and we start maybe giving ourselves some credit there for being nice, for being kind, for being brave enough to love somebody, to try to love somebody, to try to get ourselves the love back that we want. We have to give ourselves some credit for that. And then we can start looking for the love. Go where the love is. And it's so simple, guys. Okay? It's so easy. So here's the answer. Here's the simple answer. Think about during the day, during your daily travels, to anywhere from the grocery store to the salon to the gym to the office to the wherever you go in your life. Okay? And think about, maybe even make a list. Who are the people that are really, really kind to me in my daily life? I mean, you can make a list, right? Like who's really, really kind to me? It doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter their title in your life. And just, what? That lady Mary at the bakery that I stop in every Friday morning, I just love to see her. She puts a smile on my face. Okay, there's love there, right? There's love there. Don't discount it because they don't have the title of someone in your family, or because you don't really know them. But if someone's offering love to you, you better take it, because it doesn't come around that often, right? So maybe the woman who sells you the fresh bread or the cookies, maybe she's the one that makes you feel with the so nice with a smile. Go in a little more often and let Mary know that you seeing her every Friday morning makes your day. And maybe even bring her a card or tell her, and wait till you see what happens. And how do I know that this works? Because love is infinite, and it always has more to give. So when you go where the love is, you'll never go wrong. But where you go may not be where you thought you'd go. That's the issue, right? Because we're taught in this culture that, we have to go to the bloodline, the people who have the title of the family, and that has to be where the love comes from. And let me tell you something. Wrong. Do I sound like Donald Trump? Wrong. That is wrong, because just because someone shares your genetics and shares your bloodline does not mean that they are capable of loving you. I hate to break it to you. That blood is thicker than water or whatever, that saying, not really, not for everybody, not for a lot of people. It's a nice thought, and it's a wonderful feeling to know that, you're genetically and connected through a bloodline to your certain people in your family. It's a wonderful feeling, and it helps you feel grounded and rooted at times. But let me tell you something. If you expect your blood family to always be the people who are going to show you the love, and that they're the place to go where the love is, you are sadly mistaken. And this is a very sad reality for most of us who grow up with family values, like myself. Very, very hard to deal with. But when you go to people, okay, so let's keep talking about how to go where the love is. So you go where, maybe somebody in your weekly, daily travels shows you love, like Mary at the bakery. Or maybe it's, a friend of yours that you don't know that well, but you always have a really wonderful feeling when you reach out to each other on social media, or maybe you have lunch once a year. Try to make it more often. Try to make it more often. And Catherine, I'm gonna comment on that, because isn't that the truth? But so I would say then, call those people. I had an experience. I was actually going to dedicate the show to these two really awesome cousins of mine. But so Phyllis and Michelle, we grew up in the same. Our fathers were first cousins. We grew up in the same cities, whether when I was in Pittsburgh or when I was, and we never like were friends. We would say hi, but we never did anything together. We never went out together. We really had no connection other than, we were cousins. And, we knew that each other existed, but that was about it. Well, one day, about a year ago, my cousin down here called me up and she's like, hey, I see you on social media and, I know we're cousins and I'd really like to get to know you. I'd really like to have a relationship with you. And I thought that was so sweet and so amazing. And I jumped at the opportunity and I said, all right, that would be great. I like when, like tomorrow, like let's do it. And we did, and we become really close. And she has an awesome sister who's also my cousin, and they have been so loving and so supportive to me in this past year that I can't even explain. And I got it because I went where the love is instead of going where I wished it were. I went where it actually was. And learning from what happened with those cousins has taught me so much, that we waste so much time and energy on trying to be close to people who really, just don't have those same desires. And then we wind up feeling lost, rejected, et cetera, et cetera. And it takes so much, it's so hard to look at, you're a parent or a sibling or a close relative and say, you know what, you're not for me anymore. Like, I can't, no. I have to say goodbye because I can't take the feelings of hurt and rejection. It is so difficult. And this is what Anthony Hopkins' post that really got me this week says, that saying goodbye to these people will be the hardest but most important thing you will ever do in your life. And he's right. And when you do it and you go where the love is, you're going to get so much love back. You won't believe it. But it's going to take you, really reflecting and recognizing and understanding that, trying to love people who are not capable of loving you back is going to kill you. And I see it in so many of my friends, and I see it, and I hear the excuse, well, it's my brother. Well, it's my son. Well, it's my dad. Well, it's my best friend from childhood. Well, it's my wife. Well, I don't care. I don't care about the titles. It doesn't really mean anything. What means something in the end are the people who are capable of showing you love. And it's really that simple. But getting to where the love is, to be able to let go of what we've been, conditioned to believe, and to actually live out the love, it seems scary. And it is scary. But I'm going to tell you something. When you start going where the love is, you're going to get so much love back, you're not going to know what to do with it. And it's going to change you. And this is also what Anthony Hopkins says in his post. It's going to change you. You won't believe it. And he's right, because I've been there and I've done it, and it has changed me. And I am such a happier soul, such a happier person. And now I feel I have so much more love to give than I ever did, because I don't feel drained by all the people who are unable to love me that I was really hoping would. So I know for a fact that if you follow my lead on this, that you will be so happy and you will feel so loved. But I think you have to do a little work, and I think you almost have to do an assessment of, okay, let's see, who are the people that really go out of their way to see how I'm doing and say hello, that I've never really given a whole lot of time or attention to, because I've been too busy giving it to the wrong people. And, you're going to find a couple. You're going to find a couple, maybe some friends, some cousins, whatever, you're going to find it. And old clients of whatever business you're in. I mean, they're there. They're everywhere. The love is everywhere. You just have to find it, And and give them a call, shoot them a text. Hey, let's get together for coffee. We always talk about it, but we never do it. And you've always, um, thought about me. I had this one client from like 10 years ago, and she was my client down here in Miami for I don't know, a couple years, let's say. And then she didn't need to come in anymore. And every single Jewish holiday, she would send me a text and she would wish me, Happy New Year or Happy Hanukkah, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, whatever it was, Passover. Never missed a holiday, not once in all these years. And, she's now one of my, closest favorite people in the world, because I realized that if I turn to her, I'm going to go get love. I'm going to go where the love is. It's amazing what can happen when you really do that. Think about people who have made offers to you that you didn't follow through, that really are interested in you and your well-being and getting to know you, and reconnect with them and see just where it goes. It's incredible. It's really incredible. I can't believe it took me this long to figure it out. Let's get to Catherine Marie, and good morning, everybody. It's nice to see everyone back here on Facebook. Good morning, Jeremy. Happy and sad Saturday on this 9/11 rock star. Yes, I know. Thank you, Jeremy. Good morning, Tracy. How are you? And Catherine, my girl. I was just thinking about you the other day. I swear to God. I'm like, I haven't seen Catherine on my shows in a while. Where is she? And here you are. And hi, Lisa. How are you doing? Okay, so Catherine, strangers appreciate us more. Okay. Yeah, I think sometimes that's true. You know, it's like, like I was saying, the woman that's in, serves you your bread in the bakery. I know there's some, restaurants in Pittsburgh where I in the past, frequented, and made a lot of great friends just by doing that. And really good friends that I know I could call right now and they would be there. And I can't say the same thing for certain members of my family. So it's pretty amazing. Um, Catherine, I don't care who they are either. I think you said 8. That's funny. I don't care who they ate either. I don't care who they are either. Many are clueless as to what life is or what love is. Sick of others draining my energy. Live and learn. Happiness finds us. It does, but I think we can also take an active role in finding love too. And like I said, it might mean taking inventory of, you know, gee, who was that always reaches out to me, from high school, and I never gave him the time of day, or I never gave her the time of day, or I was too busy, trying to be loved by these people, and I never called these people. And when you take ownership of that and realize that, you're not necessarily a victim of this, that, we've kind of put ourselves in that situation and we were loving too much with our heart, not our heads, I guess, maybe is what it was. Or we became so desperate for love that, we kind of just, kept trying and trying and trying for the wrong people. When you can really do this, and for the people who are in bad romantic relationships, please take heed of this as well, because, I see this a lot of times in marriages and romantic relationships. We keep trying to get love from these people. And actually, there was something in Anthony Hopkins' thing, again, which I hope everyone will go to my page and read this. But he said, stop having hard conversations with people who don't want to change. And I was like, well, that sure sounds familiar, right? Like, what's the point? What's the point of continuing to ask people to love you in a certain way and having them not do it? How many times are you going to ask? How many times are you going to have that conversation? Till it starts to be a complete drain on you. And I think that that it holds most true for romantic relationships, that we, we will stay in relationships and we keep trying to squeeze the love we want out of this person, and they're just not capable. Not capable of giving it to us. And, and then I think when we start being, immersed in love, we go where the love is. And I'm serious, guys. I don't care if it's an attendant at a gas station, if it's your, the receptionist at your dentist's office, if it's, somebody who at the ice cream store. It doesn't matter who it is. Just go where the love is and let things bloom. Because real love never dies, right? It always gives back. And you have to be willing to let it in. You have to be willing to receive it back too. Okay. Catherine, let's see. Let me see what else you're saying here. I try to treat everyone as if they could use a smile or a kind word. Never know what they're going through. They give the kindness or love back when it's worth it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? I do the same thing. I try to be nice, and sometimes people just, they're not going to be nice back. And okay, I'll just move on. But I think others believe others bring happiness. All starts with yourself. I'm back to focusing on myself. That's a great point. I think that not only is Catherine right, that we believe others are going to make us happy, but we also think that it's our job to make other people happy. And neither is true, right? And so, to Catherine's point, the self-love, the relationship with self is critical to this conversation. So, if you remember when in the beginning, I'm moving this way because we started on one angle talking about, okay, this is what's happening. I'm in therapy, or I'm depressed, or I'm lost, or I'm feeling anxious because I feel so alone, because I'm giving all this love and this energy to these relationships and they're not showing up back for me over and over and over again. One time or twice is one thing, but I'm talking about over and over again. You're getting hurt, rejected. They don't show up. They cancel on you. No phone calls. They, whatever rude things people do over and over and over again. And you start becoming aware of it because you feel so drained and so empty and so rejected that you start saying, okay, look, I don't think I can take this anymore. I want to change. And so you go from over here to here. And this is the place right before we can pivot into the loving relationships. But right here, this is the place where we can look in the mirror, right? Where we can take that inventory. We can look at ourselves and say, okay, how am I playing a role in this by going after emptiness, chasing love, chasing something that isn't there? And what needs to happen within me in order to be able to get the relationships and the love that I desire? And I do believe that we have to work on loving ourselves as well. And if you don't have some love for yourself, then that pivot to the love is going to be difficult because you don't really think you deserve it, or you don't get it. And loving yourself doesn't mean you have to think you're the greatest thing in the world. I mean, that's cockiness. That's not self-love. But self-love is honoring that you're a human being with feelings, and that you want to be treated as kindly as you treat others. And that as a human being, you have, a right to that, and that you have control over that to a large degree, because you decide what relationships you go after and you pursue, and which ones you back off of and keep distance from or cut off. That's on you. And if you don't have the basic love for yourself, just the basic that, hey, I deserve as a human being to be treated kindly. I know that I treat people kindly. Sure, I could be better, but basically, I'm a kind person, and I'm not going to run after relationships that hurt me all the time. So now I'm going to understand what I am, just basically deserving of as a human being. And then I'm going to also try to find things that, I really love about myself. And if there's one thing I can tell you, a personal mistake that I feel like I've made, many, but one of the big ones that I'm just realizing in the last few months is I held so much of my true self back from others. And I don't know really why I did that, but in reading Anthony Hopkins' piece, he said, ever wonder why, you feel so anxious in the company of certain people, or, you feel out of sorts. And I've had that experience, and, didn't really understand it. And now I understand that it's because I didn't feel that I was good enough, or I didn't think that these people, thought I was enough for them. So rather than just going, oh, okay, maybe I'm not for them or they're not for me, and moving onward, I kept trying to contort myself to get that love from them. And I've done this on a lot of different levels. And again, I think if we're being honest, I think we all do it. All of us do it, especially us really empathetic helper types. We do that. We always think we're going to be the one to make the difference or change. And, a lot of times we're just not. So when I started to say, you know what, I don't treat people like this. Wait a minute. I'm not going to have this, then I was able to really, make that pivot, that Catherine's talking about, which is, how you can't really get there to all that love until, you do show yourself a little love, right? And having love for yourself doesn't mean you think you're the greatest thing. It doesn't mean, it's not braggadocious, and it's not, that kind of stupid stuff. But it's that honoring yourself and treating your own feelings with the same tenderness that you would treat others. If you're a tender, kind person, that is, of course. If you're not, the show probably isn't, going to make any sense to you. And those people were not, no, they're not. They weren't. They were not. But again, this is sort of a 3-part situation here to go where the love is, to realize, hey, I'm not in love. I'm not in the loving zone. I'm in the, not feeling good enough, gonna make, I'm in that zone of desire that's unfulfilled, a loving desire that's unfulfilled, that's hurting me, draining me, making me feel depressed, anxious, la, la, la. And then I'm recognizing that now I'm here in the middle, and I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm asking, what have I done to, contribute to these patterns? How can I change these patterns? And who will love me? Who does love me? Who can I, explore? What relationships can I potentially explore that maybe, I never did? And let me go do that. And then we can do that pivot over to the love side. And, if what I'm saying right now sounds a little esoteric and you're like, I don't know what she means by go where the love is, just, trust me on this one. Just give it a shot. Okay. And look for somebody who, has always sort of cheered you along or been in your corner, that you never really had a close relationship with, but, always exchange a lot of, pleasantries and niceties and so on and so forth. I never have time to go out with these friends because I'm wasting my energy on all these people. And then, give them a call, give them a text message, just, say like, hey, I always noticed, that you always, like my stuff on social media, and you're so sweet and complimentary. And I know we've never, really explored a friendship, but, would you like to go get a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or whatever, or maybe you go to a party and you meet some new people, and somebody, I had this happen to me. I was at a party a couple months ago, and there's a couple really cool people my age there, like, that I didn't know, and we exchanged numbers, and like we're gonna be for drinks, a bunch of cool professional women like in my age group that are single, and like, that's it, and they're awesome. So if you give people a chance. Now, I mean, a couple years ago, I probably would have been like, I'm not going out with them. I'd probably throw away the number, or, not pay. But now, no. If somebody is interested and willing to give their vulnerability of wanting a friendship to me, then I am absolutely going after it, and I am accepting it, and it changes your life. Just please believe me. It's like, I don't like to guarantee things, because I think guarantees are lies, because nothing's really guaranteed, but I would almost guarantee you. I mean, it will work. It will work. And it could be a social media situation. It could be, maybe you, like, your kids are in soccer or something, and, you always say hi to this certain mom, but you're both into your kids, and you say, oh, we should go hang out sometime, but you never do it. Do it. That's how you go where the love is, right? Another thing I do that makes me feel really good and puts me in a state of love is playing with dogs. I just, I love dogs, and so I have two, and I spend a lot of time with my animals, but like a lot, like 24/7 basically. But if I'm out walking the dogs and I see other cute little furry dogs, then I always like give them a hug, or of course I ask, can I pet your dog? Can I get some love? And I just feel like it's just very energizing, and it gives me love, right? It feels loving. If it's sunshine, I love sunshine. I'll walk in the sunshine and just be so thankful that there's sunshine. Just the little things that you sort of can fall in love with the world around you, and little by little you are creating this landscape in your life of joy and love. And honestly, don't spend one blessed minute of your time on anyone who is not reciprocating. It is, take it from me, it's a complete waste of time. There are so many people out there who will love you, and who, want to be your friend. And there's so much beauty in the world that we can tap into, but we don't, when we're, again, over on this side, chasing all these different people that don't really want to give us any of their time, right? I mean, so it's like so simple when you really think about it. And I would challenge you today, like, wherever you are in the country, I have mostly my viewers are from either South Florida or Pittsburgh and the surrounding areas, but wherever you are, just take 10 minutes today, and by yourself, or with your dogs, or with your kids, or whoever makes you feel loved, your grandmother, the person down the street at the Rite Aid who's always so happy to see you. Go say hi, bring them a card, and say thank you for always being, so kind to me. I really appreciate it. That is how you just keep the love moving and the love going, and it changes your energy. It changes the way you feel about life, and it just makes such a big difference in life. And I'm getting, like, I feel like I'm just getting love right now on the screen, and I think I'm becoming a love junkie, because I realize it's so easy to get love when you go to the right places, like puppies and sunshine, and it's so easy. But I missed that for a while. But hi, Mark. I hope you and Jerry are having, I wish you a happy anniversary. Hopefully you guys heard that. And I hope you guys love each other up on your little vacation. And Catherine, you and me and the dogs, I know you're a dog lover like I am. Alan, how you doing, Alan? Thank you for the compliments, and I appreciate it. I feel the love right now. I do. That's why I go live. I decided I'm not going to go live on YouTube because I don't feel love there. It's I like to go live on Facebook, and I'll post all of my stuff on YouTube, but this is where my friends are, and this is where my love is, and for my show. And so we'll be back here. No, YouTube will be there for you to view afterwards, and I will put stuff on YouTube. But Liz Live is going to continue here on Facebook, live Wednesday at 8 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. And so, so I just want to, hi Pat. I just want to, you have been here the whole show. Hi, okay, great. So don't forget to really love each other this, like on your trip. Just love each other. Just do wonderful things together. So let's recap from the beginning, okay? And I don't mean to be a broken record, but I just want to drive it home real simply, okay? So we start out over here, and we start out giving and almost desperately trying to be loved by whomever, right? By, a spouse or family members. And we do more and more, and we give more and more, and we hope this time's going to be the time that they're going to say, thank you, I love you, and give me back the love that I so was looking for, that you were so hoping or looking for, and that the culture told you you're supposed to get, right? And you don't get it, and you get absolutely, you get absolutely, heartbroken and drained, depressed, anxious, miserable, and lost. Lost is the word that I could really identify with, feeling really lost. And taking inventory then of what's my role in this feeling, and who am I, dishing out all of my energy and love to that doesn't give two shits about giving it back to me. Why do I keep doing this? And that's work for you to do. And you can work it through with me. You can work it through with, whomever, you're a different therapist, whatever. And then once we sort of inventory all of that, and we recognize that we as human beings, deserve to be loved and deserve the tenderness that we show other people, that we deserve it ourselves, and that we're not going to put ourselves in relationships or situations that are continuously hurting us. And once we understand and we really get a hold of that, then we get the really good part, which is we get to turn to those who do love us and that will reciprocate love. And we're going to jump out and explore new relationships that maybe before we just, brushed off, or we didn't have time for because we were dumping all of our energy into someone that didn't love us or people that didn't love us. And we're going to really, cultivate relationships with people who actually want them with us. And when you do, it's so easy. It's so easy. It takes no energy whatsoever. None. If I want to talk to my cousin, Michelle, I call her, I text her, and done. What's the plan? When are we getting together? It's over. It's not like, call 50 times, and why aren't they texting me back? Why didn't they call me back? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's for what a waste of time, right? So when you're in those right family relationships, or when you're in those loving relationships, they're so easy. They're so easy, and they're joyful, and you develop a bond. And these bonds of love are infinite, right? They never end because love never ends. And then we can also, outside of, people, whether it's people in the, daily path of our existence, the grocery store, wherever that we see, or, soccer games, or, hockey, or wherever you're taking your kids, parents that you never connected with, give it a chance, right? And then also fall in love with the beauty around you. Wherever you are, there is beauty. There's beauty, whether it's, my gosh, it's just such a beautiful day and I'm just admiring the sunshine. It's such a beautiful song that I'm listening to. And I just, this morning I was listening to Queen. I'm on a Queen kick because this week my brother and I went to a string quartet that played all Queen songs. It was amazing. It was like just the most amazing experience. Wow. And so I've been, getting into Queen this week and listening. And there's a song called Love of My Life, which, probably a lot of people know, that Freddie Mercury wrote for his wife, who he really loved, but he was gay and she wasn't. And so he couldn't completely fulfill, her needs, as a husband because of that. But they were married and they loved each other so much. And they had to sort of separate and go on so that they could, be fully, fulfilled. But they just loved each other. And they just had this beautiful kind of love that you really can't describe what it is, because it's not sexual per se, but it's just loving. And he wrote this song for her, and I would encourage everyone to listen to it. I don't want to play it and get shut off of Facebook, but Love of My Life by Freddie Mercury. And so that's it, guys. Go where the love is. You feeling lost? Just go right for the love. It's that simple. And I love all of you. I really mean that. I'm so appreciative that you give me your time and attention. And please like, share, and have a beautiful day surrounded by love, people who love you, and be loving towards yourself. And lots of love for the United States today as we remember September 11th. And happy anniversary to Jerry and Mark. And I will see you guys back here Wednesday night at 8. Go where the love is. Bye, everybody.